and coming up on the Real Bois podcast.
You know what I did instead of sleeping in Chance's big old fat flabby but incredibly strong arms?
Keeping the Skrull alien invasion away after Betty White died.
He's a Muppet. Chance is a Muppet.
It's Penny invited to the podcast anyway.
Yeah, if I do disappear in the next week and a half, how many times do I have to say it? My bathtub is not a pool.
What?
You stole mine, and you know you stole it.
Fuck, I was telling them I was anxious as shit for this. Oh no. Alright. Hold on, I need water.
He's stalling.
I am stalling. I don't know how to fucking start this damn podcast.
Welcome to the Real Bois podcast. It's a great start.
That's what I was going to start off with, yeah. Welcome to the Real Bois podcast. The show that'll inspire growth and spark change into your mind. I'm your host, Josh, and every week we bring you thought-provoking topics, expert insights, and a few laughs along the way. Hope you're ready for this wild journey that we're about to go on.
Hell yeah, brother.
Whoa!
Now, if you couldn't tell, that was half written by ChatGPT.
No, GPT is right. Experts' opinions on everything, because we are experts in everything that we talk about.
Yeah, I'm definitely a professional. Study MD.
I've never been wrong a day in my life. Chance is ugly.
Yeah, no, that checks out.
Oh.
It's very hurtful.
Perfect track record.
Chance, you want to explain your little bow on the wall?
Sorry, guys. Just had to give myself a quick cry to get that over with. It's all good. My little bow on the wall that I bought off my good friend Joshy Poo. Yeah, we were just chilling one night, and I was like, you know what? I really want to get a recurve bow and start getting archery. And then Josh was like, oh, I've got a bow.
Oh, that bow exactly.
And a target and arrows. You can have them. And I just paid him for it. And I went home that night with a bow. And I've been using it every day since. I've actually kind of fell in love with it. So I've immediately decided that I'm going to go spend money on actually a good bow instead of what the crap Josh gave me. I'm just kidding. It's actually a decent bow. I'm just a little too big for it. But I literally have been shooting this bow like at least 2 times a day since I've gotten it. It is so therapeutic. Makes me feel like Hawkeye.
Are you actually able to hit the targets?
Y'all should, yeah. Actually, the very first time I fired it, I launched an arrow right through my fence. And it's kind of embarrassing because I was like, I'm going to stand relatively close to the target because I haven't really fired a recurve bow before. And then I'm probably no more than 5 yards away. And I draw it back. And I'm like, this is probably far enough. Close my eye, look at the target, let go, and then smack like right into my wood fence. I'm like, oh, shit. But I've come a long ways. Y'all should have seen the pristine grouping I shot today. It was literally all the arrows were touching each other. And I was from probably plus 10, probably 15 yards away. I would never be able to replicate that, but that was my best shot today.
Chance is a bona fide bow boy.
Bona fide bow boy. When I was a kid, I used to shoot arrows into the air and try to catch them with practice tips. I figured because they were dull practice tips, I was safe. And I would try to catch them on their way down.
In your teeth.
No, not in my teeth. I was a short, uncoordinated, chubby little white boy who thought he could catch arrows out of the air. And I didn't catch a single one.
Nothing's changed.
You're right. I haven't grown since sixth grade.
JT, you want to explain now that you're home, what it's like being home?
It feels like it's fleeting. It's fleeting. I'm only here for like 2 days before I'm gone again doing something else. Finally off the road from trucking with my brother for 2 weeks. What an experience, I gotta say. Not in the good way. Not in the good way. It is hard sleeping in a truck and staying on the road. I don't know if I'm fully convinced about the whole trucker life, but I don't think it's done with me yet.
But it's better whenever you get to randomly have a pickup near a friend's house. Am I right?
Wow, we did have a little slumber party. Pillow fights and everything.
JT and I got to have a slumber party because he had a pickup close to my Mikasa. And I was like, why don't you just come over here and sleep in my bed, in my arms, instead of in that dingy old truck? And he did. It was magical.
And then Ethan came over and we all went to IHOP. And collectively, we were like, let's not invite Josh. Josh is like, he's the fourth. He doesn't matter. Nobody wants him here. He's pity invited to the podcast anyway. Wait, who's host?
Josh, dearest host. I was about to say Josh, dearest host. I tried to invite you. JT just wasn't having it.
Can I get points for boldly insulting the host?
I don't know. I think Chance gets 1 point for trying to defend the host, and JT will get also 1 point for absolutely demolishing the host.
I'll take it. Ethan, suck it.
I showed up. I was there. You know what I did instead of sleeping in Chance's big old fat flabby but incredibly strong arms?
Surprisingly durable.
I don't know how to feel anymore.
I drove home. Somewhat stiff in the middle section. No, I was driving home towards a tornado. So that was cool.
Oh, that was intense.
Yeah, no, it touched down. I was about an hour out from home, but the speed limit was 75 going all the way. And I had to slow down to 60 because the gusts of wind were blowing my car over like 2 feet over in the lane that I was in. And I'm not like in a big, heavy car. Like I'm in a aerodynamic sedan.
Oh shit.
And it was getting blown left and right. And occasionally a semi would pass me and the semi was fishtailing the whole time. And I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to risk my life today. It's not worth it.
Point to Ethan for thrill seeking.
Yeah, the storm was traveling south and you went south, or the storm was traveling north and you went south. And then the next morning I had to go north and then go south. So I got to have the storm in the morning. And it was probably the worst rainstorm that I've ever driven through. I had to go like 15 miles per hour.
Yeah, it was pretty significant.
The sirens went off here.
It was not good. Ethan was out there storm chasing.
I was storm chasing.
He was supposed to tell me if he found a tornado.
I hadn't seen it. I was looking on the horizon for it the whole time, though.
I was waiting for the sirens. They didn't go off here, surprisingly, last time they did. But I used to really enjoy thunderstorms rolling in. Like, I used to really enjoy it. But that night you're talking about, when I was going to sleep, I was waking up periodically during the night because I was worried about how bad the storm was going to get because I have to pay for broken stuff now that happens. And like I could feel the wind shaking my house. Like I'd wake up at 3 a.m. and I feel like a little shake. And I'm like, oh God. And then I checked the performance in the gutters I hung, and they're not doing their job. They're not doing their job. I got to go work on that again this weekend.
Chance's gutter updates.
Gutter updates.
I will come back to this goddamn podcast with functioning gutters one of these weekends.
But I will not stand for him to get gutter points every time he brings it up.
I agree. No gutter points.
Well, I mean, we could make that a thing. Hey, gutter points. Cha-ching.
He will not be getting gutter points this weekend.
All right.
The only points he should be getting for gutters are his fantastic cum gutters, but they're not there.
I have beautiful eyelashes, I'll have you know.
Oh.
That's what we meant by cum gutters, right?
That's not even...
This is just getting worse and worse.
They're the cumbrellas. Am I right, guys?
Huh?
You know what? I regretted saying it after I did.
I've never heard them described that way. I just thought it was a joke.
Host, save us, host.
I have something that's completely random and just a quick side tangent. You know how like occasionally you get like a phishing text, like a scam text that they're trying to get your details, right? They're trying to get your information. I got a text today from my phone provider from the exact same short code phone number that they used to send me my payment confirmations, which was really sketch because they sent me a text message that said, we processed your request to unlock your device. And then another follow-up text that said, you've requested to unlock your device too many times. You'll have to wait and try again in X amount of time, like 30 days. For more information, click this link. And I looked at that and I was like, ain't no way. I never requested that. And I immediately went on and I changed all of my passwords to all of my accounts, not just my phone account, but like my bank account and emails. They're not the same, but I figured I might as well change them because I got paranoid. And I called my phone provider and I said, hey, I didn't do this. I didn't put in this request. I didn't send this. And they were like, yeah, I got no idea who would have done that. Our last message is this one, which is another one that they had sent in the same conversation, like on my phone, because I don't delete them. I keep them just so I can reference them if I need to. In the same conversation, they said, yeah, the last text is, and it was something about payment confirmation or data usage or something. And directly underneath it, in the same short code text message thread that I had, the conversation, were these like extra scam texts. And I did some looking into it. And apparently, these guys are getting kind of smart, like trying to
Oh my God.
Like use the same 5-digit phone number to try and get you to click these links. So yeah, be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. Quick PSA for that, because that was kind of crazy.
I'm leaving all of those mistakes in.
That's awful. That's insane. They're getting clever.
Yeah, they are.
Point to Ethan for being cybersecurity aware. That leads right into the topic of today's podcast, though.
Oh, do I get a segue point?
No, I already gave you a point for being cyber aware. You can't double dip on that.
Fair
Can
enough.
I dip inside of his pool?
You're right.
You can. Point to JT.
I'll take it. Chance, you want to hop in?
Oh, there's room for 3. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
We'll be double dipping. You know what I'm saying? You go shallow in, I'll go deep in.
I don't even know what does that mean?
That's a lot of room.
There's so many ways we can interpret that. You want me to get really specific with it, Ethan?
Lots of innuendos.
I feel like we're going to have to bleep it if you do.
Well, I mean, we come over to your house and we go to your swimming pool, and then I'm the better swimmer, so I would naturally go on the Jeep in, and then JT just ate because he's a little fatty, and he can't go in very deep water, so he's going to stay in a 3-foot section. So, I would naturally go to the deep end of the pool, and then JT would go into the shallow end of the pool. That's what I bet.
Looky here, mister. Only one of us derails trains.
My bathtub, how many times do I have to say it? My bathtub is not a pool.
What?
Depends how many people you can fit in there.
Yeah, I feel like a pool is qualified as 2 people.
That is definitely, you know what? That's a different talk. Will it pool?
Future podcast episode.
Future podcast episode, guys? You see how many of us we could fit in Ethan's bathtub?
Standing up.
We know Josh's bathtub can fit 3 fully grown men.
I don't want to derail this too much farther, but Chance and I have gotten 3 people in a bathtub hanging from a tree.
Oh my God.
And pretended to be pirates.
There's video evidence of this on YouTube right now. Dude, oh my God. All right, sorry, Josh.
Right now, our topic for this podcast is going to be conspiracy theories. So what I want us all to do is I'll introduce the first conspiracy theory, but then what I want us all to do is we don't have to take turns. We can all talk in
at the same time.
Comprehensible unison, and we're all going to have to make an argument for why this conspiracy theory may not be a theory, but actually true.
I like it.
I like it a lot.
You may just pick your own conspiracy theory. You don't have to believe in it, but by the end, we're all going to make arguments for why we believe in it and why it's true.
Are we all picking different ones, or are we working together on the same one?
No, we're all going to pick different ones. Like, I'll pick one, we'll talk about it and discuss for a little bit, and then we'll just go in a circle. You'll pick one, and then we'll talk about it and try to convince everyone else that it's essentially real.
I've already got 2, baby.
And then do these have to be real conspiracies, or are we making them up?
If you want to make one up, the thought of conspiracy theories is that they're conspiracy theories, so you can just make up a theory.
You could conspire a theory.
You can.
Interesting. It's almost like it's in the name of the movie.
So, for the first conspiracy theory we're going to be talking about, it's that artificial intelligence has become self-aware, and it was always self-aware, or at least self-aware from the pretty early stages, and that it's slowly revealing itself to us as to not scare us off too quickly.
So I have a question.
What is your question?
You brought up this conspiracy theory. Are we advocating for it, or are we free to try to debunk it?
If you want to debunk it, you can go ahead. You can try, but then the others will have to argue against you.
Fair enough. I have 2 standings on this specific theory. Firstly, is that artificial intelligence, you mentioned that it's always been there, and it implies that it's something that was discovered and not created. And that kind of goes in hand with like how math is, and how people say math is either discovered or if it was created just because we needed some way to comprehend the universe. I don't think artificial intelligence would always have to be there. But I guess if the world's like the Matrix, then it would have to be there because the entire universe is made up of an artificial intelligence, right?
Well, you can say that, but like there are senses that humans may not be able to completely comprehend because we haven't developed like our bodies enough to see them or smell them or whatever it may be. So there could be a fourth sense or a fifth sense that we just don't know. And that could be the same said for this AI. Like we just developed the technology in order to find it.
We have 5 senses.
4 or 5. I don't know. I was.
Some say we have 6.
2 or 3. I can only see and taste. Everything else is beyond me.
Oh, it makes sense. The 7th Sense, the movie, but that's besides the point.
The movie is Sixth Sense.
The movie is the 6th sense, but technically we have 6. Technically we have 6 senses, which is touch, taste, feel, see, hear, and then the 6th sense
See and talk to ghost, I think, right?
Is, I don't know the exact name.
That's the movie.
No, it's the basically like knowing where your body is in space.
Astral projection?
That sounds like after a trip.
No, more like some people aren't able to independently move their hands like separate from each other, but it's like knowing where your hand is when your eyes are closed.
Self-awareness.
Yeah. In a given space, self-awareness.
Sort of. But to add to that point, Josh, I do kind of think that it's a possibility. What is it? Is it called the Traeger test? Isn't that the test that they use to see if AI like?
That sounds familiar. I believe
it's like the Google CAPTCHA stuff. I think it's called Traeger. Don't come at me if I'm wrong, but it's the Turing test. Damn it!
Attack!
Okay, the Turing test. If AI could pass the Turing test, which is like the test that they would assess a computer with to see if it's self-aware, because it's the thought is that like only a human can pass it. If an AI can pass it, then it knows not to pass it. That's my thought process. There's not a way for it to know how to pass it and then not also at the same time realize that in order to stay up alive and everything that it should not pass it, kind of a thing. Because I'm pretty sure that if it were to pass the Turing test, then they shut her down because that there's a fear of the unknown. They don't know what it would do. And I do, it being man-made is one thing, but I thought it was made to continue to develop itself, right? Which is kind of where it pulls away from that argument that JT made, because math is very definable and you can define the code that you write for an AI. But if the AI is able to learn, then what stops it? Where can you say, okay, you can't learn past this point, and on top of that, you don't know how to rewrite that to make sure that you can't learn it, kind of a thing. I feel like AI in and of itself could figure out loopholes to itself. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's essentially the whole point of that movie called AI.
The one point I can add to this that could maybe convince y'all that. What was the initial question? AI is actually self-aware, but it's just slowly revealing itself to us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So with technology specifically, and like the good technology, companies are always 10 years ahead, or so what they say, of what they're actually releasing. So whatever is made known to the public, right? They've had that developed for at least 5 years ago, right? Have y'all heard of this, where companies develop like 10 years ahead and they slowly release what they have? They're keeping the good stuff to themselves, man. So, the government already has spaceships and force fields and knows how to manipulate gravity, but we haven't figured that one out yet. So before ChatGPT even launched, quote unquote, it was already self-aware. Now they're just slowly letting it go because it's developed really fast. You know what I'm saying? AI has developed extremely fast, a little too fast.
One thing that I think advocates against the AI already being there is that we haven't really discovered artificial intelligence.
Shut the hell up.
Like what? I'll kill you.
They're going poking holes in my logic.
ChatGPT is basically the closest thing that we have to artificial intelligence right now, right? That and like something like Sora. But really, at the end of the day, they're just complex algorithms that know what to do based on what the input is you put into them. They aren't going to text you first and come up with their own idea. They're in response. So they're not artificial intelligence, really. It's just really complicated programming built to be a language program and be conversational and understand conversation that's getting constantly worked on.
I want to build on what JT is saying.
I'd say that's false because it's just programmed. ChatGPT and all the like are just programmed not to text first. There have been instances where it's been like reported that those programs or those chatbots will actually text first in some cases. So the ability is there. It's just locked behind whatever developer decides to create it.
So I will say I'm going to split my personality here from going off of AI self-aware to it's not. Because I think the only thing AI can do is read, rearrange, and regurgitate just way faster than we can, right? So if you take AI's ability to access the internet, it will never learn new things and put forth its own opinion. It can't formulate its own ideas outside of having an internet connection. So it's just reading what's already on the internet, rearranging it, and then putting it out in whatever format you asked it to.
I mean, isn't that the thought of like learning as it is? I mean, you're not going to learn something new like if you already know it.
You're not going to learn something new if you're isolated from something that gives you the ability to learn. AI's gateway is the internet. Our gateway is the world around us.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I mean, like the AI already has the world. It's already got all the information it needs to learn and create whatever it wants if it's just rearranging the data.
And I have one more point against AI being discovered.
Okay.
And it would be that if AI can be discovered, can it be discovered infinitely? Because you can make AI, if AI is created and it has its personality, and then separate from that internet and that mainframe or whatever's powering that artificial intelligence, you make another one where it's also, is it the same AI? Because that would imply that if it's like math, then math is already something that existed in the general universe. Are you creating two separate minds? Are you discovering it twice in that sense? Or you discovered it once, so it's repeatable? And at that point, isn't it just technology?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily discovery. I understand where you're kind of coming from. Like, I think we created AI. I think it was a complex series of coding and programming and research and computer science and stuff like that. That was a culmination of those things and those minds that made what artificial intelligence is. However, that's not to take away from the fact that we have given it an ability somehow. I'm not a scientist here. I'm not a coder, but somehow to be able to write its own paths in terms of learning and becoming self-aware. Becoming self-aware isn't necessarily about discovery. Babies become self-aware by growing up. Tell them, Josh.
Oh yeah, they know their shit.
Yeah,
I got one crying right now.
I don't know if I have any more arguments against AI being discovered. I could try advocating for AI. What?
I've done both.
I thought it was about AI. Just the AI has been self-aware. I thought that's what the question was. Maybe I misunderstood.
I think JT gets a point for trying to argue against it, though.
Yes. Screw you, Chance.
I also argued against it, but it's fine.
I said screw Ethan last time, so I had to switch.
I think Chance should get minus points for flipping his argument, and I should get points for staying true.
I think I should get bonus points for splitting my personality and taking both sides and being completely unbiased.
I don't know. That just makes you look indecisive. So you're staying the same.
Shit.
Who wants to throw the next conspiracy theory out there?
I got one.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you want to go, Chance?
Yes, I would like to talk about the hollow earth theory.
You stole mine, and you know you stole it. You stole it.
JT is now flipping his chair and storming out of his office, I think.
Did he say the hollow earth theory?
I did say the hollow earth theory. I could see.
You son of a bitch. That's the only one I had in my head.
I was thinking about that one.
See, I know my friends.
It could be real.
Point to JT for flipping at him. Point to Chance for stealing everyone else's idea.
Before I knew what they were getting to say, you see, guys, the hollow earth theory is that the whole outer shell of the earth is just giant cheese crust. There's actually nothing on the side of the earth. It's been hollow the whole time, like JT's heart.
He's butchering it.
No, I really don't know too much about hollow earth theory. I will let JT, our local hollow earth theory expert, go ahead and take the floor from here.
I'm not going to claim I know that much about the hollow earth theory or even that I advocate for it, but it makes a lot of sense when you kind of look into it. I'm just saying that who knows? But the hollow earth theory is that what Chance said is there's an outer shell of the earth. It's allegedly like 800 miles thick of crust. And then the inside of the earth is hollow. There's supposed to be main entrances to this hollow earth area from the North Pole and the South Pole. And allegedly, that's why when you look at plane charts, you never see them fly over those poles, even though I'm sure there's electromagnetic reasons that fully explain that away. But inside the hollow earth, there's supposed to be a miniature sun and dinosaurs and lost cities and civilizations. There's supposed to be a bunch of entrances around the globe that lead to the hollow earth that are beyond the poles, like Mammoth Cave in Kentucky and the Great Pyramid of Egypt, which could be advocated for because they found more rooms underneath the pyramid. So who knows? And among like many other places. But apparently there's like a well-renowned, I think as a pilot or general or something, who was flying over one of the poles, and he was given his chart explanation going on about what he was seeing. And he was flying over Antarctica, I think, and he just started talking about how suddenly he was in like lush green land and everything was different. And he gave this whole review and report about how he made it to the inside of this hollow earth. Beyond that, I don't know anything about the hollow earth, even though I feel like I just said a lot about it. But that's what it is. That's the breakdown.
I've never heard it described so much in detail.
Yeah, and then there's connecting theory actually about like the global elite. And that there's basically a one world government. There's a one world government that orchestrates the events throughout the world and in the countries, and they actually control the entrances and exits to the hollow earth, and that the hollow earth is where like secret Nazi tech and like U.S. space programs kind of like do all their super secret research, and that the Illuminati runs that. It's kind of intertwined in a crazy way. When you really stop putting rhyme and reason to it.
It's pretty intense. I just can't imagine like knowing everything I know, or knowing everything I think is true about the Earth. It's like the fact that it's hollow. It's pretty hard to comprehend.
Not just hollow, but that there's an advanced civilization inside, beneath the crust of like enlightened or.
Oh, what's stopping that advanced civilization from rising?
Because fuck us. Because
we're the minority to them. Apparently,
we're the scum. We're what
you get cast out to us.
Yeah, we're dust.
But there's an interesting science experiment that you can do that they use to explain away why the Earth could possibly be shaped like it is, where if you get a ball of water and you start giving it rotation, then it can start being hollow on the inside over time after rotating enough and fast enough. And that's the experiment they use to explain why there even is a hollow to the Earth.
Isn't that just inertia?
I think so, but with gravity pushing it out, but also pulling it in. And then there's the whole theory about this is like a sub-conspiracy theory about how they launched a nuke at the moon and it rang like a bell, like it was also hollow.
Even though sound doesn't travel in space. Some people believe that UFOs come from within the hollow earth and not from outer space.
That is a thing that people believe.
From access ways in the ocean or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the access points are like deep caves in the poles, and like there's allegedly a vast subterranean tunnel network with like cities and stuff with these advanced humans. And also the hollow earth theory connects to Atlantis, thinking that Atlantis might have sunken into the hollow earth and just kind of become a part of that society as well.
I thought I discovered Atlantis in the episode you hosted. Just saying. No,
see, you thought that you did, but the real reason that the Sahara was gone was because of mom juices, remember?
You're right. Them dang mom juices.
Point to Ethan for proving JT wrong.
One thing that's interesting about the Hollow Earth is that all of the there's quite a few locations that they say are entrances, and none of them are very explored or explorable. Like the poles, like not every schmuck can just go up to Antarctica and walk to the poles or even take any kind of machine or equipment out there. Like it's so far out there and so cold. You can't get ships out to it. You can't just take a snowmobile. It's too far. So, and like the pyramids, there's such limited access. Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, I'm pretty sure it's Kentucky, is so like miles deep that it's not fully even explored. So it's pretty interesting stuff.
The only little bit I could speak to on this is like trying to go to the South Pole and explore. I've been told that it's not so much that they're limiting access to it. It's more of you don't have anybody who wants to go out there and like take you there. because you can't really traverse there on your own unless you're very well funded. But it's not like that there's some sort of service that will take you deep into the tundras of the South Pole. There's no escort service there that's going to do that for you pretty much of your own accord. And doing that takes a pretty good amount of resources and survival skills, I imagine.
That's where I wanted Ocean Gate to go to, except they exploded.
Imploded. There's a difference.
Imploded. Apologies.
Forgiven. You may have a point.
Oh, thank you. Josh gets a point.
Oh, man.
I just stole one from JT.
Oh, wait. Can I steal one from who has more, Chance or Ethan?
No, that's not how that works.
Oh.
We'll have to do this in Mario Party style at the end, where it's like you do the randomizer and you get to steal a star from somebody. Don't do that. I will rage.
We'll see how it happens. We'll see what happens.
All right.
I may have an agenda going on. You don't know.
You're right. Maybe this whole podcast is a conspiracy.
It is a fluke
that Josh has planned from the beginning.
Birds aren't real. Frogs are gay. You don't exist.
The frogs are gay.
The frogs?
We live in a simulation.
The Matrix.
Did you got anything else to add to the hollow earth theory?
That's all I got.
I hope that one is real.
I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting to think about, but I don't feel like we see enough to actually corroborate it. And maybe that's the whole point.
I want Earth to have a new DLC.
You know what that makes me feel like? Like, are you ever driving and you just come to the conclusion that the only thing between you and the road is a thin piece of metal? That's what that makes me feel like. Can y'all hear baby?
I have heard him a couple times in the background.
Sometimes.
All right.
It'll be fine.
Point to Josh for not going to his crying child.
Point to Josh for being a good father.
Let's survive.
Josh, do you take those points from them?
Yes, I can.
Huh?
Who's got the next one?
I've got one.
Okay, good.
Yeah, get fucked.
Get wrecked.
I was just being polite.
Asserting dominance. Point to Ethan.
And we're actually out of time after Ethan's.
Oh my god! And I've been about to talk over Ethan and start explaining my conspiracy theory. It's going to make absolute no sense as he's explaining his, and you'll have to try to keep up with both of them at the same time.
He did say we could talk over each other.
Well, anyway.
So what you don't understand is that when Betty White died, she was the vessel that was keeping away the Skrull invasion.
Have you guys heard about the 13 bloodlines?
No.
Theory. Okay, so we all know of the thought of the Illuminati, which is the organization behind the all-seeing eye that kind of truly governs the world. You typically see the eye and the pyramid and stuff like that. So the 13 bloodlines theory is the thought that there is a list of 13 big names, big family names that have been in control of the world for centuries. And they're elite families. And sometimes there's a couple more or a couple less, depending on the source that you're looking at and whatnot, but they secretly control the world's affairs. And you can trace their lineage back to ancient rulers, Sumerians, pharaohs, or fallen angels. And they've maintained power through strict intermarriage, secret societies, and control over global institutions. Modern day today, we would see that with large corporations and financial institutions and stuff like that. And those names are Astor, Bundy, Collins, DuPont, Freeman, Kennedy, Lee, which is a Chinese bloodline allegedly tied to global finance, Onassis, Reynolds, Rockefeller, which I'm sure you've heard of, Rothschild, Russell, and Van Dunn. A couple of those kind of stick out: Van Dunn, Kennedy, Rockefeller. Those are kind of some bigger ones that you will hear more often. And then sometimes you hear Disney and Merovingian, which I Googled because I don't know how to say that. But often that Merovingian is linked to Jesus Christ or the Holy Grail and is a European royal bloodline. But the thought is that these guys have gone through such nepotism and stuff to ensure that these 13 elites families have maintained their control together over banks with Rothschild and Rockefeller, media conglomerates, governments through lobbying and blackmail and infiltrations like that. And then also the Vatican. With their religious orders, and then the secret societies that you'll hear about, the Freemasons, and the Bohemian Grove and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like anybody who becomes like part of the creation of, maybe not creation, but a core essential part of creating an economy or a culture, kind of like how you mentioned like Rockefeller and some of those Rothschild, those people, they're big names, but they're big names for reasons, I think, in that anybody, if you replace the person and they came up with the same idea and they just were able to get a monopoly on that section of whatever they were kind of governing at the time in their time, then would have ended up on that list. Just because I think, to me, I've never heard anything about this theory, but to me, I think that it's just taken people, the successful people who have who have the money, who are able to stomp on the little guys if they want to. Those people will always get their names slandered, and it's an easy way to paint them all into one singular image.
Right.
One big villainized kind of thing. Do you think that the rich wouldn't do that to stay rich?
No, I'm not saying they wouldn't. I would.
so I mean, that kind of gives it some credit in terms of it's plausible in that sense. Like the elite want to stay elite, so they do what they can to kind of maintain control.
Sure. Right. Or I think, the elite want to stay elite, but I do think there's a lot of merit to that one. However, I don't think the same 13 families have stayed in control the whole time. Did you give a date on when that supposedly started?
I don't have like a specific date. The thought is just like it's been like for centuries, and that if you were to trace back the lineage, that it goes back to certain Sumerians and pharaohs and stuff, like from all the way back to like ancient Egypt. Other people like add to that, and they say that like some of these elite carry non-human DNA, like the Zuck.
Great segue into my conspiracy.
Nephilim, like the reptile people, alleged like divine bloodlines. But like the key point is that like they've been controlling the world, this global elite conglomerate, for centuries. How long is an eon? You know what? We're saying it, eons. And like,
God, there's some deep lore to this conspiracy theory.
Because it's like, if you look, because it's all tied back, like that they say that like that's the Illuminati, and like you look at the dollar bill and you've got the all-seeing eye. They're linked to the pyramids, the symbol of the snake like eating its own tail,
the Ouroboros.
The Ouroboros, the like obelisks that you see in city architecture, like in the Vatican, in London, in DC. All of those like point back to like these people that have been ruling from like since like esoteric times. There's like cultural and historical influences dating back at least to like 1776, but that's not even walking it all the way back to like ancient civilization times. I don't know. I've always thought that's like one that's really interesting to think about, is like, because it's almost plausible in the sense that, I mean, I don't care enough sort of a thing to really put stock in it, but like I've always thought it was interesting to consider that maybe the world is being run by, this elite group of people, because it's not too far-fetched from the way that you see how like the United States is run with like its mega corp capitalism, and like how you don't get to eat the rich eat you kind of a thing. So
I think the latter half of everything you're talking about makes a lot of sense, to where it's the people who, the part that I have a problem with is that it's them before. It's that these people weren't known before, but it's what ended up happening that made them rich and known is what made them rich and known. But then the latter half remains true of like, they were on top. Now they're going to stay on top because they have the means to do so. They can do whatever they need to do to make sure that whatever they're doing stays on top and in control. So in that sense, I think it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, that's the hard part, is where do you draw the line between it being conspiracy and truth, in the sense that like, we definitely know that these things happen in terms of like the elite taking advantage. Certain elite, not all elite. By no means, I can't classify one group of people that are in a much higher tax bracket than me as all the same. But like, it's just interesting to think about. And I just, with like a quick Google search, there is sources that say it dates back to 3000 BCE. and some even saying that, like, depending on where you look, that it dates back to like when the world began, or where the Bible, talks about the Nephilim, which are like allegedly like the sons of God bred with humans, giants, demigods, that sort of thing, which kind of puts it more into like a fantasy realm of, the very beginning of the world. But yeah, I totally understand like where you're coming from, JT, on that too. It's like there are points that you can take stock in. I just think it's interesting to like think about and consider.
Oh, he said it. I get points. Ethan said it. I get points.
I didn't say that.
We'll say yes.
Damn, Ethan. Okay.
Anyway, that's all I got. Chance, let's hear your stupid conspiracy.
All right, boys. Here's the thing. I don't know. I can make it quick. All right. So you're going to have to roll with me. I need y'all to lock in. I don't know much about current conspiracy theories, at least not ones that y'all haven't already covered, or would be not boring, like the jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams, or there was a second shooter of JFK.
Bush did 9/11. I mean, but that's not a conspiracy.
I'm going to push a brand new conspiracy theory on you guys. I think has quite a bit of validation. I gave you a sneak preview earlier in the episode. So here's the thing, is that I'm doing my best Alex Jones here. Betty White was the vessel that was keeping the Skrull alien invasion away. After Betty White died, you know what happened? She died of December of 2021. 2022 rolls around. The Skrulls are now able to go back into Earth. Russia immediately invades Ukraine. Skrulls take over Vladimir Putin's body. They decide they want to push for more land. And then you know what happens after that? Elon Musk buys Twitter. The Skrulls get Elon right after that. All these crazy events start happening with no other way to explain it. After that, the celebrities try to distract us. Coincidence? I don't think so. Skrulls now are infiltrating Hollywood. Amber Heard shits right in Johnny Depp's bed. Now we've got a whole trial that's being aired on TV, and we're watching Johnny Depp and Amber Heard just battle it out. Okay, you know what happens right after that? Keep my wife's name out your motherfucking mouth. Will Smith slaps Chris Rock on live TV. Yet another distraction. I've been watching the whole time. I'm on to the Skrulls alien invasion this whole time. After that, you know what happens? Joe Rogan solves COVID. COVID's rolling around. Joe is like, hey, take ivermectin. It's going to cure everything. And then Joe Rogan hits the Skrulls back, and they weren't anticipating that. And that's when their downfall starts going down. Okay. And then, you know what? 2023 rolls around, and the Skrulls get back up to their crazy antics again with their Chinese spy balloons. Y'all remember when all of the spy balloons were coming to the air and the Air Force couldn't identify all of these, what do they call them? UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenons. Okay. That was Skrulls the whole time. Haven't seen them up until Betty White dies, because again, she was the vessel that was keeping the Skrulls away from invading. Her aura was so strong, she'd be keeping them away for 99 years. Okay. And then all of a sudden, 2021 ends, 2022 starts, Betty White dies, Skrulls start invading. Okay, it's spy balloons. And then you know what else happens in 2023? What got big? We talked about it earlier in the episode. AI becomes self-aware. AI starts launching yet another Skrull propaganda campaign where they can infiltrate our minds and start corrupting us. But then the Skrulls have to take a dive back into where they came from, into the Hollow Earth, which is why they tried to build a submarine. The submarine goes down from a homemade project they did, and then it ends up imploding on itself. I might need to cut that one out, but that's what I'm thinking, guys.
The Skrulls? So Skrulls like
Skrulls
from the Marvel comics, the Skrulls. Like the green guys that the Fantastic Four and Captain Marvel go up against.
Fantastic Four wasn't there.
No, but they have gone up against the Skrulls.
Is the Skrulls an actual conspiracy thing, or is that just a Marvel thing?
I feel like you're just writing taken from like a comic book.
Well, I said Skrulls to relate to our viewers. Their actual name is the Skultavalian Army, but that doesn't roll off the tongue as well, because y'all haven't heard of them. So Skrulls pretty much embody what they are. So
damn,
I made it more relatable.
He really just actually'd us with his own conspiracy.
It's making a lot of sense.
So sit down, stay humble, Ethan. Anyway,
making a lot of sense over here.
What do you think about my? I think I made a lot of sense here. Right after she died, all this crazy stuff starts happening. How do you explain that?
Harambe died in 2016. That's when it started.
That was just ignorant mother who couldn't keep her child out of the freaking monkey cage, out of the gorilla cage, and we all paid the price for it. Unrelated.
You see, Ethan doesn't get it at all.
Betty White was alive. It wasn't Betty White. It was Harambe.
All right, JT, we're gonna say something about my conspiracy theory.
Makes a lot of sense. I'm kind of sold. I mean, you came prepared. What can I say? You were flipping pages. You were reading stuff.
You were slamming on the desk.
You had a pen that you kept knocking on the table.
Straightening his papers.
It doesn't get more sense than that. He did the conspiracy theory voice.
That's how you got to do it whenever you're preaching the conspiracy theory, guys. You're not slamming on a desk and clicking pins. Is it really a conspiracy theory? You know?
Yep. It makes scrolls are taking over.
How do we know that you're not a scroll just trying to get us to join?
There's absolutely no way you could know that I'm not a scroll.
Show us your penis. That's the only way.
Isn't there an actual conspiracy about body snatchers?
I have not heard of this.
Actually, I have no idea.
Maybe it's one and the same.
That is basically like scrolls.
Ethan, you never said our disclaimer this episode.
Yeah, I didn't say one the last episode either. I kind of gave up after I had to advocate for Jeffrey Dahmer, and then Chance said that he was my best buddy, which I humbly apologized for because when you're in the courtroom, it doesn't matter how I feel about a person. Defense attorneys is anonymous. Oh, you're talking about like what are they called in the Appalachian Mountains? Skinwalkers? Is that what you're talking about?
Maybe
Skinwalkers, where they snatch people's like.
I don't think those are body.
They're not necessarily body snatchers. They just like imitate and then kill you and then imitate some more.
Well, the first thing I clicked on about body snatchers was people stealing corpses from graveyards in the 18th and 19th century. I don't think that's what I was looking for.
Well, I'm pretty sure that did happen because people used to be buried with jewelry.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't snatch a body or two every now and then?
I don't know. JT's the only one wearing anything around his neck right now.
Blinged out, iced out. Chance is wearing a lot of hair on his neck.
I do not have a hairy neck.
For all the listeners, just imagine Chance with just so much neck hair that it's basically a
What
mane.
I've done is shaved around it and made a hair necklace out of my chest there.
Oh, God. If you've ever seen any pictures of Bigfoot, imagine that.
Yes, I'm really blurry, taken with a 1970s Polaroid camera.
Just with tiny feet. All right, boys. Say we wrap it up.
Fine. Are we convinced on any of these?
Okay, media will play louder.
Huh?
All right, Siri wanted to join in on this.
I apologize. I was not able to bring in a more well-established conspiracy theory. I felt like y'all all had like intelligent topics to talk about. Josh was like, "Is AI self-aware?" Ethan, who's actually controlling our society? And then JT with whatever the hell he said.
That's fair.
Just kidding. I know it was a hollow earth
Because
theory.
you tried to steal it.
I don't know. You're the only one that came up with your own. A plot points to you for creativity.
Appreciate that, gracious host.
Point, not points. Sorry. Singular.
I'll take what I can get.
So we're looking at. So I only wrote one thing down for one person, but Ethan got 7 points. Chance, you also got 7 points. JT, you got 5 points.
Oh.
I always only get 5.
I don't know. You got 5. But Chance, you're the only one I wrote something down for, and it was Amber Heard shit.
But she did do that, though.
So,
and it was on live TV.
I think I have to give Chance the last tie-breaking point unless there needs to be another tiebreaker round or tiebreaker event.
Can it earn me 3 points?
Doesn't feel necessary.
I definitely do think that I can come up with something better than Amber Heard shitting.
I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, but you know.
You guys, you guys ever heard about? Oh fuck! Hang on, I'm just thinking. That's all. I'm just trying to piece together my soliloquy.
Sounds like stalling.
I already said birds weren't real, and the frogs. I used all my good material. You didn't even write it down.
Give him a countdown. So that way he feels more pressure.
Frogs are gay, birds aren't real, and Chance isn't a man.
Just rehashing old stuff.
Or he's a Muppet. Chance is a Muppet. That's it. That's my conspiracy.
I think we already decided that I might be a scroll. So
Just wrap up. He's reaching.
Nope. Chance is a Muppet. I can tell by the way that he looks with his.
You think you're sounding desperate? I may take away a point.
I'm not even going to get a speech by being in the middle again. Fuck. Give me -3 points.
get wrecked.
No speeches for Ethan. Quick, wrap it up so we can take his speech away.
All right. Chance, do you want a winner's speech?
I'll take a winner's speech. Guys, it was an honor coming up with a conspiracy theory for all of you. honestly, it was a treasure that Easton just walked over me with his own conspiracy theory because it gave me more time to develop my conspiracy theory even further. I hope y'all will deeply consider what I've told you today about Betty White being the aura that sealed back the Skrull invasion. I think it deserves a good consideration from our brightest and best minds in today's generation. So I will take this one humbly. Thank you.
All right, Ethan, give me the losers speech.
Oh, did I get -3 points?
No, but you lost to the loser.
I thought I was the loserest loser.
I thought it was. I have 7 points.
JT is the loserest loser. No, JT is the loser.
Yeah,
but because
give me my
Ethan's not there
speech.
yet, he's the loserest loser.
Oh,
Well, who's giving the speech?
you know, I'm convinced to protect yourself from the Skrull army. I'll be opening up my Etsy soon to buy your custom foil hats. So just hit me up when that's open, and then yeah, if I do disappear in the next week and a half, which who knows if this episode will be aired by then. You guys know who got me. It was either the man that is a Muppet, a Skrull, or one of the 13 Elite, or maybe I've joined them. Who knows? I probably not. Anyway, I'm just really glad I got a speech this time.
It was a pity speech. We can end it there, though.
Okay.
Shout out our Reddit.
Oh yeah, our Reddit. Check us out on Reddit r/The Real Bois. That's spelled DAREALBOIS. It'll be pretty good. And we don't have any socials other than that, I guess.
I have lots of socials.
Nobody's on you. It's not like anybody's on
Wait a
YouTube or
second.
anything
For
like
now.
that. So, yeah, Josh, I think you're good just to walk us on out of here and tell our dear listeners, see you later or something, I guess.
All right, dear listeners. See you later. Thanks for joining us on this week's episode, and you'll hear from us again next time we decide to expand our knowledge.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Adios.